Welcome to the Investor Syndicate, where our membership-based economy is exploring the world of decentralized finance. We're currently experiencing the largest separation and transfer of wealth in history, and it's happening right in front of our eyes. Consider it like the digital gold rush, if you will. If we look at this past year, post-COVID era, and all the money that the government's just printing into circulation, most smart investors know that we're stepping into an inflationary scenario. So as a result, you got investors that are starting to look and want to position their money in commodities, real estate, and now cryptocurrency. Decentralized finance is so deep and so wide, and there's so many different angles that you could never really grasp how deep that really goes. But our goal with this membership economy is really just to empower each and every one of our members to get involved and to explore this new digital realm. So today we have my good friend Philip, who's actually, we went to high school together. Great friend, lost contact for a long time, and then just by circumstance, we ended up running into each other and connecting on some different investment strategies. So good to have you here today, man.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
Good to be here.
So this will be exciting, guys. Philip has a super cool story. We're going to talk about where he started making his money and what really inspired him to start taking the money he's earning to put it to work where it can start to multiply and make more money on top of that. So let's go ahead and just take a quick trip back to where it all started.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always been an entrepreneur by trade. As a kid, mowing lawns, cleaning houses, pulling weeds, things of that nature, making my own money. When I was in high school, I was a competitive athlete and gamer. And just by circumstance and time, I ran into poker. In 2003, this guy, Chris Moneymaker, had turned like $40 into a few $1 million, winning the World Series of Poker main event.
Wow.
It was super inspirational to me. And as a game player, I ran into a small community of poker players, realized this is where my talent was and this is what I wanted to do. So since I was 16, that's where I put all my time, all my energy, and have been playing professionally ever since.
That's incredible, man. So as far as like the poker community, would you say it's a pretty tight-knit group of people where most everyone knows everyone?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Poker is played by millions of people across the world, but as you move up in stakes, the community, for the most part, gets very tight-knit, very small. If I go to Vegas, LA, Texas, anywhere here on the East Coast even, you will find in the same games the same people, same faces.
Yeah, it's awesome. Similar to any like wealth building vehicle, right? The real estate investing space, you have your core niche of investors, whether it be your multifamily investors, single family, wholesaling, like so many different sub niches and categories inside of it, right? And now the cryptocurrency space, which we're starting to branch into, it's almost like its own underground world, right? It's like a secret society, if you will. But the fact is that the application and utility behind a lot of these currencies, crypto digital currencies, really solves a real world problem, right? So I'd like to kind of branch into where you realize that, wow, playing professional poker, I'm making all of this money, and you really, like light bulb moment went on. What was that turning point when you realized that you had to start investing the money that you were making?
I think for me, a big part of it was I was just learning more and more about financial literacy. Like the thing about playing poker is you can make a lot of money, and you can make a lot of money very quickly. But the lifestyle moves so fast, the money's always coming and going, and you kind of just find yourself continually at the table, in the chair, needing to continually make the money to fund your lifestyle. And I realized I cannot be doing this forever.
It's almost like a hamster wheel.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. And I could see okay, my lifestyle is great and I'm making good money, but I can't do this forever. So the more I learned about money, the more I learned that it's not like my job is not to make money, it's to build wealth.
Yeah.
So that comes in assets. Now we're traditional assets being stock market, real estate, and crypto. Now, you know what I mean, in the digital age. And so in doing all of that, crypto is becoming more and more of a focus for me.
Yeah, it's huge, man. I mean, it's like every single day there's new things that are happening, right? New coins that are emerging and taking off. Like it's so much to learn and take on. But it's one of those things that you just have to like dip your feet in a little bit, right? Make a move, invest a little bit of money, right? And then learn as you go, right? Because you're going to learn the most through application than you are going to any seminar, reading any book, right? And also just realizing the value of your community. Because proximity is power.
Yeah,
People
absolutely.
you surround yourself with are going to help to empower you, share their knowledge, and really just help you to reach the results you're seeking, right?
Yeah. I mean, just as building any skill set, you're going to build that skill set much faster working with people who have already made the mistakes, who are already doing what you want to be doing. So surrounding yourself with people like that in a community is going to help you develop yourself and your skill set much faster with much less
Growing pains.
growing pains, yes,
Yeah.
along the way, absolutely.
If you can learn from someone else's mistakes, right? Like heart-wrenching mistakes, you know, losing thousands and thousands of dollars for whatever reason, it's going to put you on the fast track to success, right? Because you don't have to go on that long detour, lose all, you know, whatever that might look like. It's, you know, you can learn more through that community-driven aspect than any other space.
Yeah, and like we kind of said before, like everybody has to pay their tuition. Like there's no way around that. No matter what you do, when you get into a new skill or a new space, you're going to make mistakes, but you want to have other people's mistakes, keep those mistakes to a minimum, and that tuition you paid as small as possible. And I think communities and having mentors and things like that go a really long way in doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's go into the point you started investing, right? What was the first investment vehicle that you started to step into?
The stock market.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was the most accessible. What I was finding, I was at the poker table, and the people I was playing with, they were all on Robinhood or some simple platform on their phones making trades, you know what I mean, making investments. And I'm just like, what are these people doing? You know what I mean? Because I know just from the way that they play poker, they're not the most strategical people. They're not, you know, I just feel like I have an advantage in all these spaces. And they're saying, oh, I'm doing this. I just made X amount of money. I just made this many thousands. Like, this is amazing, blah, blah, blah. The space is booming.
Yeah.
And so I just realized, like, with that and learning about financial literacy, I have to get in. And that's where I started.
Yeah. So what were some of the early trades and picks that you stepped into?
Mostly everything I was getting into was tech. I would say like everybody was like talks about like value stocks and tech stocks, growth stocks, whatever. Like I was kind of in that value growth stock. So like Apple, Tesla, AMD has been really big for me. So, you know, everything that's kind of surrounding where our world is moving, which is technology. Yeah.
It really is, man. It's changing so quick, sweeping across every single industry, right? And I mean, just like everything is going digital, right? COVID was a true proof of concept with that. Whoa, lock everybody in their houses. Business has to go on in some shape or form, right? So how can you adopt more of a virtual digital strategy, which has been in the works for years and years and years, right? But I think it's really just accelerated that path, right? Where we just got thrown into it, and where traditional brick and mortar, it's not completely dead, but it's almost slowly moving its way out.
Every business is facilitated by technology right now. So investing in those technologies, ones that are not only prominent now, but are going to be the future, that's where you want to be parking your money. Absolutely.
Yeah. So as an investor, you want to do your research, of course, right? Look at the utility behind the company, and you got to make sure that the reason you're investing in that company, right, is based on either the leadership team or the utility that they offer through it.
A combination of all of those things. Yeah. Who's leading the company? What is the utility? Not only now, but in the future, and what's going to protect those advantages now and moving forward in the future.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So at what moment did you even, let's go back to when you first learned about cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
When was that?
I first learned cryptocurrency. I have my own heartbreak. Everybody has their heartbreak story about when they could have gotten into Bitcoin or, you know, any coin that took off like they did. When I was playing poker, I was an online specialist, and I was part of a private community just like this one, all of elite professionals that were just coming together, you know, coaching or just talking strategy, developing ideas about where the game was going to go. And one of the players was constantly telling us, yo, this Bitcoin thing is the thing. Like, I don't care what you guys are doing. Just put $1,000 in here. Where it's going to be the future, X, Y, Z, and that was my first exposure to this emerging market. Back then, of course, it was too abstract.
What year would you say that was?
That must have been 2007.
Wow.
So it's, you know what I mean?
So it was pennies or dollars at that point.
Yeah, 1,000. It would have been, I think, a Bitcoin was fractions of a dollar. So it was just a very abstract idea. There was no concept of cryptos. It was the first one. Why would we get into this? So that was how I first learned about it, and then since that, obviously I still remember it, but since that time I've seen it consistently becoming more and more a part of our culture, having more and more utility, and it took me a little bit too long to catch on, but I still think, the market's just emerging, and we're just at the tip of that.
We're still early adopters, right?
Absolutely.
But for whenever you're watching this video, right, we're towards the end of 2021, December, what's today, December 2nd? Price of a Bitcoin is like $60-some thousand. You can look at the market right now.
56, 55.
Yeah, so roughly $55,000-$60,000 for a single Bitcoin, where if he made a move just over 10 years ago, buying it at less than $1, think about how much money $1,000 would manifest today, right?
Oprah rich.
Uber, yeah. If Uber was a word, you'd be that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Uber rich. But yeah, I mean, it really is incredible, man. So you found out about it, didn't pull the trigger right away, right? When would you say you started to really hear cryptocurrency as more of a buzzword? When was it starting to get introduced, maybe not to mainstream, but people that were looking to invest in opportunities?
I suppose for people, I mean, maybe 3 years ago, 2 years ago, people that were really starting to get into this digital currency DeFi space, I wasn't there. I just started about a year and a half ago really hearing it in the poker community because people were using Bitcoin to transfer money from person to person. So if I was out on the road playing poker and one of my buddies needs to transfer $30, $50, $100,000 at a game or something like that, hey, send me Bitcoin. Hey, you got Bitcoin? Hey,
wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So because
would they accept that?
Yeah.
Like as your entrance fee or whatever, the stakes, they would accept Bitcoin?
As entrance fees in a casino or to a tournament, no. But most of poker at the highest level right now is being played in private games. And so it's all peer-to-peer.
Wow.
So obviously transferring $100,000 peer-to-peer through a traditional banking institution is very difficult. And it comes with a lot of problems. But now all these guys just carry on crypto wallets and they just, that's how they're moving.
That's incredible, man. That's super cool.
So I can see the utility of it becoming a real-life application. This is a big thing, and now as that's happening and institutions are jumping in behind it, recognizing that that's happening in the real world, I have to get in. You have to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it took a while for the institutions to start really moving their weight, right?
Yes.
Like when we looked at the last bull run cycle right around 2017, right before it dipped. That was kind of like the retail investor run, right? The smaller people that might have had some high stakes, but they started buying into these different coins. At that point, Bitcoin, Ethereum, I think Litecoin was running up, right? I think Ethereum was like $500 or less, right? Yeah. And then they tanked, right? There was a bunch of fluff and scares. And as you guys learned, the media, the news, like information changes and manipulates markets at the highest level, right? So a lot of the stuff where it's like China bans crypto or regulations in this country,
Absolutely.
You see these currencies like drop dramatically, right? And what I've come to learn, I'm not claiming this is fact, but what I perceive is it's almost like now that the whales, when I say whales, large institutional investors, whether it be hedge funds, banks, large corporations, they're starting to there's a feeding frenzy, right? And you're seeing millions and millions upon millions of dollars getting fed into these currencies, right? But it's interesting because you get like one of these, world news announcements about crypto being banned somewhere, it tanks, and what's happening is all the retail people get scared, pull their money out, right, just like in any other industry, and then the whales come scoop it up at a discount, and they just hold that, right? So when you think about it in that light, it really is important. One, you got to learn how to hold on to your What does Warren Buffett says? He says, he's got countless quotes, but be fearful when others are greedy, right? And be greedy when others are fearful. So, hey, when everyone else is freaking out, running for the hills, go buy them stocks at half price and hold on to it, right? Because it's going back up.
Yep.
As long as you know the community and utility behind it.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, just really, really intriguing to see how these things are blowing up and growing from the retail space in 2017, where now institutions are playing. Like we said, moving big money into the coins. Like, we're only going up from here. So future projections. So Bitcoin there's a limited amount of digital code, right, that Bitcoin's built on.
Yes.
And it's already forked 3 times. From my understanding, I'm no expert, I'll consider myself an explorer, right?
Yeah.
It has one more halving, right? So one more fork in this chain. And once Bitcoin forks for that last time, which should be happening pretty quickly, it's just going to skyrocket, right?
Yes.
I think I've heard terms like maybe hitting $1 million a coin.
It's possible. From some of the biggest institutional investors, Kathy Wood being one of the, premier investors in the world right now, is projecting 500,000. And that is all just on the back of more and more institutions putting more and more of their money into crypto, either as a hedge or using it as some utility vehicle for their business.
Yeah.
And as they continually adopt those strategies, Bitcoin is just going to keep going up. And as you can see, those investors are all waiting for crypto to go up. The bigger crypto gets, the more stable it gets. The more stable it gets, the more reliable it gets. So the more they trust putting their assets into crypto. And so as you can see, the higher crypto goes, the higher crypto goes. And that's what they're saying. That's what they're projecting. Yeah, you could see 500,000 to $1 million in the near future. Yeah.
That's incredible. And it's not even super mainstream, right? Like, young, savvy investors are getting in the space.
Yes.
But like baby boomers, our parents' generation, they're still holding on to their 401ks, playing it safe, right? Where, if we're being honest, there really is no safe space in this tidal wave of, we'll say, market manipulation, right? Because it's happening. Like, the further you go into it, like, the more you realize, holy cow, financial system's been manipulated for years, right? And the savvy investors, whether it be on Wall Street or mining Bitcoin, like, it's almost like they control the rules.
Yeah. I think that's one of the most important things I would like people to understand now is 401ks are no guarantee. They are making you an investor. The only thing that 401ks have to offer from most companies is that they match what you contribute. So they give you a big advantage because they're basically doubling your return in your contributions, but you are then becoming an investor, but they're investing your money for you, which they are not incentivized to make your money grow to the maximum. They're incentivized by the companies that are building those 401k portfolios for them. So whether you like it or not, if you're participating in a 401k plan at your place of business, you are an investor, and it's really important to recognize that. And if that's where your retirement is going to be, you want to be investing in the most, the lowest risk, highest returning assets you possibly can. And who's to say that that's in your 401k as opposed to new emerging markets like cryptocurrencies and NFTs, things like that.
Yeah. So branching into NFTs, the buzzword has been around a couple years. NFT stands for non-fungible token, right? Now, it's simply a store of value. It's a utility built on the blockchain, which a blockchain is just the digital code that a lot of these currencies are built upon, right? So NFTs that are starting to blow up, right? You can have rare pieces of art that are built into the Ethereum or Binance blockchain, right? You're starting to see artists who record like record albums, and you can sell it as an NFT, like they call it custom minting of an NFT. But it really just is opening up this whole world. It's almost like a digital world that they're creating somewhere in space, almost like a game land, that most people don't even know about, right? I mean, look at Facebook. For those of you that know, they announced the official name change to Meta. The metaverse is this digital world. There's going to be a time where people will plug in virtual reality goggles, or maybe just plug into the Matrix, right? Like a cyborg, where you enter this digital space and you could be sitting at a table, feel like you're physically there with somebody on the other side of the country, whether it be having a business meeting, consulting, buying different products and merchandise,
Playing
storefronts, playing poker,
Yes.
right there like you're there in real life, from the confines of your own home. Which, that side of it honestly terrifies me. It's scary as crap, dude. Like,
Of course.
who would have saw that coming?
I mean, it feels like we've seen it coming in like these sci-fi movies, and just we are already kind of participating in that with the internet, with our phones. But now it becoming a reality, it is impending, and it is scary, absolutely.
It really is like the real life Matrix.
Yes, it is. And it is happening. So whether we're scared or not, it is going to happen. It is happening currently, and now it's just how are we going to take advantage of it?
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. So Philip gave me the idea of like the cyborg. He had a great topic on it, how he really presented that. Why don't you touch on that, like kind of how the metaphorically from the Matrix into this world that we're starting to see unravel today?
Yeah, the idea was that we're already cyborgs. The Matrix, if you see it, the guy's plugged in his pod, and he's just in this virtual world, and he's able to live his life, download things, have his experiences, whatever. We're already doing that with our phones and on our computers.
Yeah.
Our phones are extensions of us. It's a lot of friction because when we want to learn something or we need to know something, we need to go into our phone. We punch it in, but we immediately do get that information. We do learn it. So we are, by virtue of having these pieces of technology in our hands, half machine or some portion of machine, some portion human being.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And there is technology coming, Elon Musk with the Neuralink, where they're actually implanting chips so that you can, start putting this technology directly into our minds. At least those things are in the works. And then with the metaverse, you're in these environments.
Whew.
It's happening.
So what do you, of course it's all speculation at this point, what do you foresee or what do you picture the real world being like when this technology is fully been adopted?
The thing that I'm seeing and the thing that people are saying, which is interesting, is this kind of separation of wealth is going to continue. And what that's going to have happen is you're going to have a lot of impoverished people who can't experience the real world because of their financial situations or circumstances. And as a result of that, are just going to plug into the metaverse. If they want to go to the beach in Southern California, the beachfront hotel, well, they're going to experience that in the metaverse, not in real life, for some fraction of the cost. And that doesn't just extend to experiences like that, but like we were saying, business meetings, recreational meetings between people or relationships, etc. You're going to experience the world at a low cost, but in some confined space. That
Inside of the video game, inside of the metaverse.
It's the Matrix. I mean, you can slowly see that you'd be moving slowly into a pod where you don't need any more physically to move out into the world to experience life. You would just be in the metaverse.
On your bed, just getting fed from an IV, huh?
Absolutely.
Or having the government bring you smoothies to your door.
And you can see it's absolutely a case. You look at people on social media, look at them on the internet. It's too comfortable to just go and experience and scroll and do those things. The average person is going to succumb to that. So recognizing that's the case, we really want to get out front of it.
Yeah, I agree. Smart investors are opportunists, right? So they're constantly looking into the future. They're not playing checkers, right? They're not just looking for that next move. Oh, let's do this. They're becoming a chess master. Like, hey, what do I foresee happening in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now? And how can I anticipate the movements that's happening, right? To, again, not just focus on the next move, but how can I strategically position myself, my wealth, and our assets in a place that's going to emerge and come up.
And I think that it's not very complicated. Just history is going to repeat itself. So look at the best performing assets that we have in the real world. And one of them, which obviously you know a lot about, is real estate.
Yeah.
And you can see that now playing out in the metaverse. What did you say that Adidas paid for a piece of real estate in the metaverse?
Paid like $4.3 million for a digital piece of land, right? You got these like Decentraland, Sandbox. You got these, I guess, spaces, countries, whatever, inside of the metaverse where people are buying digital plots of land, right? So about a month ago, I could have bought one for 2 Ethereum. Ethereum current market is about 4,400, so like $8,000. Over the past month, they've doubled, right?
That's insane.
Facebook announces that they're changing their name to Meta. Of course, it shoots up, and you started seeing a bunch of money come out of the secondary coins. What's the word I'm looking for?
Altcoins.
The altcoins into like the Meta, into the Decentralands, the Sandboxes, NFTs, right? And I know that a big part of Bitcoin's white paper is for a lot of these altcoins and even some of these poo coins, right, to start really pumping it up because more people are stepping into it. You got the Doges, the Shibas, these small coins that are trading for decimals of a penny that people are like, holy cow, I see what happened to Doge. If I can just catch one of these projects early enough and drop a couple decimal places, I'll make a crap ton of money.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's starting to get more people flooding the market, which raises that floor and starts to add rocket fuel to Bitcoin. And then they just start pulling off one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy stuff, man. So we figured we'd dive in. So NFTs, the non-fungible tokens, are a pretty new thing for me. So we figured we'd show you guys a little bit of what's going on behind the scenes.